thing on a crane.
I think that's a terrifying idea. That just scoops up zombies and can drop them in.
Or something?
Wait, what if it goes around dropping zombies in pools?
Oh, just ruining the pools.
Maybe Pinch a Penny designed them.
Yeah. So, by the way, Wesker seemed to want the last 4,000 people on Earth to die.
Why do you want people dead? They're not even bothering you.
But you see, originally they were like, we are going to engineer the apocalypse and make the world in our image. But, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We know the answer, and I just forgot. Because at the end, there are all those people who were preserved there. So they were talking about 4,000 surface survivors.
Yeah. But why would they want them dead? There's people all over the world. And 4,000's nothing across the entire world.
Well, and the other thing is that if you only keep rich people, who's doing the work?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Like, who's doing the agriculture? Who's cleaning things? Who's making clothes? If you basically just have all these rich people, or maybe they have laborers in there, I don't know. But if it's mostly, like, you need to have more laborers than rich people by a landslide.
Wait, and you know what's crazy? They had Alice destroy the place where they made all the clones.
Yep.
Right? Wesker took her out of there where she couldn't have escaped at all. By herself. She couldn't have done it. And he blew up this facility with clone-making functions.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want them around?
Maybe they have duplicates at that location where they were storing all the chosen few? I don't know.
Their plans, I love Umbrella, because they just freewheel it.
Yeah.
These guys just don't care.
Well, this is clearly like the movie where the villain has like an unlimited checkbook.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's nowhere to cash it anymore.
They have everything. Like, remember, what was it? The end of part 4, beginning of part 5, with all of those, like, huge high-tech aircrafts coming down to the carrier boat. Like, I mean, it was just, like, I'm looking at these resources. And almost every time you see all this stuff, it all gets destroyed.
How are they powering this?
I mean, even if you have infinite money, like, that stuff takes time to make.
Couldn't it just go around and capture all the humans?
I guess. You just scoop them up with Helldrake claws.
You know what I think, dude? I think there's like 10 different bosses in Umbrella, and they just can't agree.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just waging war. Because they just having a power struggle within themselves. And that's why everything's so discombobulated.
I believe it.
All right, so how about this? Let's go study up. Let's look at some Umbrella case studies. And when we come back, we'll figure out how they went wrong. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And we looked over those documents, John. And Umbrella, they did not have their stuff in order. Can you believe it?
I think that Umbrella needed to rewatch some of these movies before they got to the sequel.
Like on Spaceballs?
Right, yeah.
So they're watching it while they're doing it?
Just turning back and forth.
They're a very interesting company, Umbrella.
I'm a little curious about some of their scientific developments because I think that their dogs got more scared in the later sequels of getting hurt.
Yeah, oh, you're right.
The dogs in this one, like, seemed more regular dog-like, whereas the dogs in the first ones were like these fearless attack drones, you know?
Yeah, maybe they learned. Maybe they became like Bub from Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I want a Halt and Catch Fire type TV show about the starting of this company when it was really small in a garage.
It was just like Wesker with a laptop. His mother's making him Hot Pockets.
Yeah, and he's just yelling at her.
Mom, the meatloaf!
Meatloaf! Some old school? Wait, was that old school?
Yeah. What is she doing there? What'd she do?
He's talking like Zula. What is she doing there? Yeah. Oh, man. All right. We have a question here. It's Logan from Cleveland, Ohio, and he asks, which Resident Evil game is, number 1, your favorite, and 2, what Resident Evil game monster scenario was the scariest? For me, the dogs in Resident Evil 2 video game, I think, were horrifying. Also, was there much for survival horror games before Resident Evil, or did it start the genre?
So I wanted to accept this question, but I don't know anything about the video game, so I'm just thinking about the movies.
I mean, I played the video game once. Remember Nintendo GameCube?
That sounds familiar.
So, my buddy had Resident Evil, and I had Super Smash Brothers. He's like, "Hey man, let's like trade games." So I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like I could take a break from this, and you could take a break from that. And I played it one night, not knowing anything about Resident Evil. I just played it in the dark, and I played it for about 15 minutes. And a zombie busts out of a room. I started screaming, killed my character, and I just turned it off. And so
that was it.
I guess to answer this question for Logan, what scares you the most? I mean, it's a good game, so I'll say the Resident Evil for GameCube, and I'll say what monster scenario is the scariest. I'll say when a zombie jumped out of a door and just killed me. That horrified me, John.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I want Super Smash Brothers back. And then the question is, did it start? I think Doom was behind Resident Evil. Was that kind of like a survival horror game, or is that just a first-person shooter?
I think that's just a first-person shooter. That came out in the 90s.
Yeah. So was this like the next step of it?
I guess. Yeah, like the Resident Evil. Was Resident Evil before Silent Hill?
I think so. And Resident Evil, you were just walking around a house, the first one, I believe. You were just kind of strolling around a mansion.
See, I only played the games like the Street Fighter 2 kind of games.
Blanca.
Right.
E Honda. I'd either do the leg thing or the Blanca arm thing. And people just lose their shit with me, John, because I would just hit them constantly with the leg kicks.
So that was your scariest. It was the zombie just bursting out the door. I see, now not playing the games and just going with the movies. And the movies really aren't scary, but I think the best scenario, and we really had a lot of fun talking about it, was the dogs in part 1.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because you got dogs, you go into another room, there's dogs, and there's a zombie in this room when you're running away from the dogs.
There's a funhouse vibe to it.
Yeah, the dogs were pretty cool, and they looked good for their budget limitations, and they seem pretty effective, except for, when she jump kicks one.
I mean, just the best bit, though. There's a dog, then she goes in a room, there's a zombie, and then there's another dog that jumps through the glass, and then she goes in through another door, and there's more dogs. Like, that's fun. That's like, that's a good bit.
You know what else was maybe on the verge of scary was actually in this movie when Alice goes down that garbage chute, that like Chutes and Ladder Funhouse chute, through that trap door. There were too many trap doors, by the way, in those corridors.
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
Like, when you really think about the fact that they were able to get all 3 of those people wherever they were, but like, they just happened to be right there. They could have been anywhere in that whole network of things. Were there just trapdoors all over the place?
Yeah, people constructed hundreds of them.
Apparently. But so when Alice goes down that chute, right, and there are like some dead bodies hanging around, and there was that weird, big, hulking ghoul that was really fast.
It had big teeth.
That might have been the, air quotes here, but scariest thing I can think of from these movies.
And that monster bit Razor's head off.
Dude, I loved that too. Like, that was just that's like Venom.
Like, Razor just got lit up.
That thing was like Venom.
Yeah.
Basically, with all its little tendrils and stuff. Like, that was a good fun kind of scare. And survival horror, gosh, I'm thinking back. Like, all the ones I can think of are like that I ever played like in an arcade when I was younger was before Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and they were always like the first person shooters, the House of the Dead games, things like that. But you weren't really, you were just going through the level color by numbers.
Yeah, you were shooting stuff.
It was taking you to where you were going next, and yeah, you just shot. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good, interesting. I wonder what really started that stuff. Like, I remember watching my cousin play Silent Hill. That game scared us. My cousin Ryan would be playing this, and I just watched. I loved watching him play. I never played it ever. And it's like, dude, it's sunny Florida, right? It's 3:00. We just got out of school, there's all this light coming in the living room. It's like totally well lit. And that movie was scaring the crap out of us. Or the game. The game would startle us. The first time something would happen, got us.
Can you walk wherever on Silent Hill?
Yeah, and this you could. It was like, what do you call it? Like an open platform.
Oh, got it. Because I don't think I could have walked wherever in Resident Evil, but you can kind of stroll in a various area, like certain area. And so I was just kind of strolling, and I got murdered by a zombie.
No, like in this one, if you were in the wrong place, like if you just, you found some key, and the key is to something in the school, and then you don't realize that, and so you go like all the way to the other corner, if you will, of like the level, the board, the whatever. It's like you might watch your character jogging across town for 8 minutes. No, I'm not. It's not even a joke. Like it will take you a while to get across town. So some of the game is just that, and then you hear something like something flying. There were these gargoyle monsters in it or something that could get you from the mist.
Oh, brother!
That was a fun game.
Was Sean Bean in it?
No, I wish he was. Poor guy.
Well, I mean, that's a fun question. I feel a little remiss that I never really played any of these games. I played the game once and I screamed. And I turned it off. And you're a big dude, and you were an even bigger dude then. Yeah, I was a monster. You were a Hulk. Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about this on the last podcast. Megan joined me, and we were watching House on Haunted Hill. A lot of people aren't saying it's scary, but for me, I'm a wimp. And I guess I just really got into it with the dread, and it really hit me hard. I was able to focus on it. But I used Megan's leg, I used the couch, I used my hands. I loved that show. I used everything I could to block the screen from me at certain times. I thought that it was really good. I used my cat. Cultivating dread. I used Ghost in front of me one time. I picked up so Megan's leg. She was like laying down on the couch. I lifted it in front of my eyes. I mean, I was in a bad place watching that. So yeah, I mean, I'm lucky I had Megan around. Otherwise, I just wouldn't have been watching it. I'd have been watching something happy. But yeah, I'm not good with horror movies. I fly all over the place. Just whatever. All right, so back to the movie. Back to the movie. So Ruby Rose, by the way, coming back to Ruby Rose, in this movie, did she just not have all those tattoos yet? Or did they cover up most of her tattoos? Because she had a few. They had to have covered them up, right? Okay. I don't know. Because I don't remember seeing any of them, and I know she's loaded with tats, right? Yeah, she's got sleeves. Yeah, so I didn't see. Yeah, so they probably covered them up on her, put some long sleeve shirts on her. No, I mean, she was wearing short sleeves, and you saw some tattoos. Oh well, well, that was 2017 though, so she must have gotten a boatload recently. Yeah, that's like I'm a little dodgy. It's like, so either she got a whole lot or they just decided to cover them. But just, her kind of like tech kind of like, mechanic thing. It's like, why would you take them off? It was just curious. I'm sure I could have Googled this and I just didn't. But that was a curious thing for me. John, you and I need to quit our jobs and just work in an automobile shop for a year. So we can make trebuchets. Yeah, and survive the zombie apocalypse. Honestly, I just need someone in my family to have a shop, and then I will magically know how to do this. Oh, you're right. So you need to open a shop, and I'll just go there and read a magazine one day. Right. And boom, trebuchet. You're going to have it. Like, you come to my house, and it's the most fortified thing ever, and everyone around me is freaked out. And you did that, like, in an hour or two. I mean, yeah. I am a big trebuchet fan, John. You know this. Because the timeline, right? Yeah, timeline. And I've been watching movies lately. I was watching a bad movie the other day, and there's trebuchets. I'm like, I'm in. When I see a trebuchet, I'm all about it. The more, the merrier. So that scene was pretty cool. And do you like big turbine fans? No, I don't like big turbine fans. And so they survive the attack, right? Well, a few of them do. A lot of people get slaughtered. I don't even know their names. And so they're like, we got to go to the pit, because in the first one, a bomb drops on Raccoon City and it opens up an opening into the hive. Right. So they're chased by dogs. Well, they jump into water and the dogs don't follow. And then the dogs just run around and chase them. I don't get it. And they get to this massive turbine and they go through it really slowly, John. Yeah, that took
a long time.
That was a long turbine scene.
And